Do you have a lampshade that has started to yellow or is just looking a little tired? First, make sure that your piece of wallpaper is large enough to cover the lampshade. Next, set an edge of your lampshade against one edge of the wallpaper. Measure in 1/2 inch to 1 inch and mark it by running a pencil where the shade meets the paper. Now you have an overage border on both sides of the wallpaper. Spray the outside of the lampshade with spray adhesive. I gave my shade 2 light coats of spray adhesive. Using your pencil markings as your guide, roll the lampshade onto the wallpaper, pressing and smoothing as you go. If you need to lift and restart, no problem. The shade will stay tacky from the adhesive. Next, apply double-sided tape to the inside lip of the top and bottom of the lampshade. This tape can be very sticky, so place it where you want it first and then remove the outer coating strip on the tape. Wrap the overage border of the wallpaper over the edge of the shade and press onto the double-stick tape. Because you are working on a curve, you may need to include an occasional fold or pleat in the paper as you go. We're not done with the double-stick tape yet. Take some more tape and apply it to the top and bottom of the lampshade on top of the wallpaper and fold over the edge. Then, take some ribbon in a coordinating color and press half of the width onto the double-stick tape by lining it up together with the edge. Do this for the top and bottom of the shade. Fold the ribbon over the top edge and secure on the inside of the shade. If your ribbon is not quite wide enough to cover the double-stick tape, you can apply another layer of the ribbon on the inside of the shade. Continue the lamp makeover by spray painting the base of your lamp in a color that coordinates with your wallpaper. I hope this inspired you to give a tired and worn-out lampshade a stylish makeover with just a little wallpaper.
Start by removing any fabric from your lampshade if it has it. We're going for that exposed wire look. It gives it a fun, rustic vibe. So you're going to grab your moss and start gluing it to the frame. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just random makes it look charming. But be careful with that hot glue gun. Once you place it wherever you'd like it, make sure to add some twine to hang it and you're good to go. You also can add those lights on this if you want. I'm going to show you how to do the lights next. So weave your string lights in and around the frame. You want to be able to see a twinkle from every angle. Cut a piece of twine and tie it to the top of the lampshade. This is how you're going to hang this. It makes it super simple. Repeat this with as many lampshades as you want, and just like that, you've got the perfect glowing garden party vibe.
When I was at the thrift store last week, I found this lamp that I love the shape of and thought it would be perfect for my next project. I'm going to start by giving it a good scuff sanding with some really gritty sandpaper. Next, I'm going to cover the entire base with an adhesion primer. The trick to an adhesion primer is to paint on a thin layer and then leave it on for 12 to 24 hours. While I'm letting the primer sit, I'm going to work on recreating the shade. I've gone ahead and cut my fabric to a workable size. I'm going to wrap the fabric around the shade just like I'm wrapping a present. To adhere the fabric to the shade, I'm going to use some spray tacky glue. I want to spray some on the fabric and some on the shade as well. It becomes tacky quite fast, so I can stick them together. I'm going to trim off part of the excess fabric now. I only need about 1 inch to fold under and over the top of the shade. To keep the edges nice and neat, I'm going to spray them with the same tacky glue and then turn them to the inside of the lampshade. I'll do the same to the top as the bottom. In order to get a nice clean line where the fabric ends, I want to use a little hot glue to turn it under and then glue the edge right to the fabric on the shade. With the lamp base ready to go, I can paint it now. I'm going to start with 2 coats of this creamy colored paint. I'm going to paint the entire base and the post for the light bulb. To give the lamp base a little more of an old antique-y feel, I want to add a glaze to finish it off. This is an antiquing glaze that gives the paint a light brown color. I want to brush it on and then I can use a scrap piece of fabric to smooth it out and soften the lines. What a completely different look this lamp has now. It fits into my decor so much better and I love the unique shape. I hope this has inspired you to give your old lamp a makeover as well. I found this lamp not too long ago at the thrift store, and while I like the shape of it, it needs a bit of a makeover. Before applying the paint, I'm going to give the base a quick sanding with some gritty sandpaper. This beautiful burgundy paint is going to look lovely on the base of the lamp. To transform the lampshade, I want to decoupage this paper all over it. I'm going to apply a decoupage medium to the area I want to work with first. I don't want to cover the entire lampshade to begin with because I don't want it to dry out before I can get to that area. Now to start applying the decoupage paper. I want to cut a piece that's manageable but will cover the whole area while leaving a little bit extra to cover the top and bottom. Before applying it, I want to dampen the paper with a wet paper towel. This is going to allow the paper to be stretched and formed to the shape of the lampshade. I can lay the paper right onto the shade now and trim off any big excess pieces. I'm going to use the same paper towel to smooth out any air bubbles while I'm working. After I have each piece in place, I'll cover it with another layer of the decoupage medium so that everything stays nice in place and is protected when it dries. I'm going to keep doing this until I've covered the entire lampshade, and then I'm going to leave it all to dry. I want to fill in any little areas that I might have missed. I can just use little bits of the paper to cover up these areas. With everything done and dry, the last thing I want to do is cover up all those little paper bits on the underside of the lamp. I've grabbed some really pretty black ribbon and I'm going to just hot glue it in place right over the paper. This is going to give it a much more finished look. I love how much personality this lamp has now and how unique it looks. I hope this has inspired you to give your lamps a decoupage makeover as well.
Next time you're at the thrift store, pick yourself up a couple of lampshades. So to begin my project, I just took apart the lampshade. This one has this little decorative knob on the top. I am going to save that because I'm going to put it back on here as soon as I get all the fabric off of my lampshade. So I just began with some scissors, cutting apart the fabric and ripping it off. It was glued very well, so it took me a little bit to get all the fabric off, but you can also use a seam ripper as well to rip apart the seams, and then the fabric pulls a little bit nicer. Once you get the lampshade down just to the bare wire, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this little knob back on. Now I just used a nut and a washer that I had stored away in my toolbox that fit, and I'm just going to put the nut at the bottom and tighten this back on, but you could also glue it as well. Then I'm going to go ahead here with a hot glue gun and I'm going to begin down one part of the lamp shade, and I'm just going to attach this faux moss onto the wired parts. So I'm just working in sections here, adding on the moss little bit by bit. It is very messy, this part, and the glue can be a little bit hot, but I found a little hack to do is just to take a big ball of the moss and kind of wrap it around the wire and grab the wire nice and tight. The moss will protect your hands from the hot glue, and then you can just pull away any moss that wasn't stuck with the hot glue. I did also put plastic gloves on just to try to protect my hands a little bit. Once I covered both my lampshades with the moss, I came in with these solar fairy lights and wrapped them all around my lampshade. So just starting at the bottom and then working my way up, making sure that I covered every portion of the lampshade for the most amount of light. I'm using solar fairy lights like I mentioned here. You could use battery operated ones as well, but if you are going to hang these outside, I do suggest solar lights just so that the batteries don't get wrecked by the rain. I do like that the moss provides that like camouflage woodland look during the daytime, but at night, once the solar lights have charged, they light up and they provide just a cool atmosphere for my backyard. How great would these be for an outdoor wedding? I really hope you enjoyed this idea. Thank you so much for tuning into Home Talk, and we'll see you on another video.